Israel's war on Gaza may be a curtain call for the post-World War TW0 international rules-based order, Amnesty International Secretary-General Agnes Clamard said on Thursday. The gravity of the violations being committed, the fact that we are witnessing them every day, the flimsy justification by Western democracies, all of these warn of a possible total collapse of the rules-based order, she said. Speaking at the Balfour Project annual conference in London, Clamard denounced the US and UK's continued backing of Israel's offensive in Gaza as making a mockery of international law. The conference dealt with the question how peace with justice can be achieved in Palestine, but many of the speakers highlighted how the actions of the UK, US and other Western governments are at odds with this goal. The United States Biden administration and the Conservative government in the UK have both pushed back on rulings against Israel by the International Court of Justice (ICJ), as well as the International Criminal Court's application for arrest warrants for Israeli leaders. They have also continued arms sales to Israel and cut funding to the UN's Agency for Palestinian Refugees, UNRWA, citing unproven Israeli allegations about 12 members of its staff. Noting this, Clamard said that the governments were accelerating the risk of genocide in Gaza, a charge South Africa brought against Israel at the ICJ in a case that has been joined by several other countries, most recently Spain. The consequences of the collapse of the rules-based order, she warned, reach beyond Gaza, inspiring anger in all corners of the world. We must adopt a posture of transformation. On Friday, U.S. President Joe Biden unveiled a three-phase plan to end the war in Gaza from the White House. However, a week later neither Hamas nor Israel have signed the plan. In a copy of the proposal seen by Middle East Eye, Israel has not offered guarantees for a permanent ceasefire and a complete withdrawal from Gaza. A statement put out by the White House, signed by several countries including the UK, called on Hamas to accept the US-backed proposal in its opening paragraph. As it became more evident that the problem here was with Jerusalem, we saw the US doubling down on this idea that the only people who had to give an answer was Hamas, Daniel Levy, a former Israeli peace negotiator, told the conference. Levy said whenever Israel's Western allies have been faced with a fork in the road, and presented with a choice between a sustained standoff with a recalcitrant Israeli leadership, or the default of letting them off the hook, they have always chosen the latter. Whilst Clamard and Levy spoke of barriers that Western governments placed in the way of finding an end to the war, Palestinian speakers described what peace with justice would actually require. Noor Oda, a political analyst and former spokesperson for the Palestinian Authority, spoke of the sense of abandonment among Palestinians in the occupied West Bank. Knowing that nobody will come to the rescue, not even their own government, when it comes to the discussion of the day after the war, I think is very emblematic of how we got here, Oda said. For Oda, achieving peace with justice requires Palestinians to have political autonomy. But this is something that has been routinely denied to them. Oda was set to run as a candidate in the 2021 elections, which were indefinitely postponed by Palestinian President Mahmoud Abbas, citing Israel's restrictions on Palestinian voters and candidates in occupied East Jerusalem. They have locked us in a situation where we are hostage to a divided and dysfunctional and paralyzed political system where there is no discussion, Oda said. The voices of Palestinians are also absent from Western-led plans for Gaza's post-war reconstruction. In December, international development agencies and urban planners met to map out blueprints for the transformation of the enclave into a commercial hub. I have no doubt that there is enough expertise and enough people with heart and creativity in Gaza who can come up with a way to rebuild it, the way Palestinians want.